Hey YouTube, this is my first video where I'm actually showing my face, so apologies if there's any mistakes or anything, but we're just going to be running through some of the equipment that I use. Nothing is mega expensive as such or too technical, or I just use basic stuff. I don't have loads of money. Also want to say I've got a dog, so if you hear any barking or any funny noises, it's him sniffing around. Hopefully he won't mess around with the camera too much. So I'll start by saying about what cameras I've got and what I basically use them for. I have a Canon 750D, which is currently what I'm recording with now, hooked up to a mic. I think it's probably a no-name brand mic. I'll just show you if I can get it in the camera. Just hooked up to a tripod here, so it's staying in one place. I think it cost me about $10 or $15, so really cheap, but much better than using the internal mic on any of the cameras that I've got. Yeah, I have the Canon 750D, and I just use that for any basic photography, going out with the family, stuff like that. Use it for this type of stuff, YouTube, and I use it for macro photography. I've got two lenses that come with it. The stock lens that everyone seems to get with it, the 18-55. Everyone knows that lens, everyone's got it. And the lens that's on the camera at the moment, which is the 50mm 1.8. Is a great lens. That's what I use for my macro photography. I'll show you some of the parts that I use. Just give me a sec. The two things that I use for macro are these. They are macro extension tubes, and there's 3 different sizes in there. These are really cheap, but it's amazing the results you can get macro photography with these. I absolutely love them. I also purchased at the same time as getting them these, I can't remember what you call them now. These are close-up filters that come, you would have seen these are for the 50mm lens as well. You have to get the right size for the lens that you've got, but I think there's a 10mm, 4mm, 2 and a 1. And I do sometimes use them together, but you have to be careful. Obviously you can, the image does decrease in quality as you go on, but it's cool to have a play around with them. And some of the macro stuff, I mean, check out my channel, there's some videos of bugs and things that I've took, and it's quite interesting really. The other thing I use for macro photography is this, I think it's called a macro instrument, which basically allows you to connect the tripod, and then you connect your camera, and it gives you a very fine tuning of moving back and forth and left and right. So because obviously the amount of focus distance is so minimal when you're on macro, that just holding the camera by hand is very difficult, and you're in and out of focus continuously. Whereas that, if you can get it on a tripod, stabilize it, get it exactly where you want it, and you can get some magical photos. And like I say, if you've already got a camera, to buy that stuff is really cheap. For like $20, $30, $40 in total, you've got a really good macro setup there, so it's worth looking into. Something else that I use for macro is a remote switch, which is worth having, so you haven't got to touch camera when you take a picture. Again, these are so cheap. Macro is one of the cheapest types of photography you can do if you want to. I mean, you can spend tons of money on buying fantastic lenses, but you don't have to, especially if you're just getting started out. So the next camera, these are just some basic cheap cameras that you may not have even heard of as such, that I just started out with really just to get going. I mean, I've had this Fujifilm. It's a EXR, let me find out, Fujifilm EXR, oh, F660 EXR. This is a camera that actually I would still take out today. It's 16 megapixel. It's got good manual settings on it. Good little camera if you're just out and about and you don't want to take anything, you know, you don't want to take a DSLR or a bridge camera. I am a big fan of bridge cameras, by the way, and not many people are, but I think they're brilliant for what you get. I love the big zooms on them. I love that you get the majority of the options that you would on a DSLR, and yes, you do lose picture quality, but it's pros and cons, and I absolutely love bridge cameras. So I actually bought this bridge camera for my daughter because I was into photography and she wanted to get into it, and she enjoyed it all of about 10 minutes. But this is the Canon PowerShot SX520 HS. I think it's 42 times optical zoom. Great little camera. Again, it's relatively small, easy to carry, chuck in a bag, whatever. Great little camera. Another camera that I started out with a long time ago was the Canon 350D. Don't use it anymore. It's had a good workout. There's bits missing, I've had to add bits on, but it was a great camera at the time. Another camera that I used for a long time and still use to this day, I think it's a brilliant camera really for the money, is the Canon SX60 HS. I love the zoom on it. I love the different options that you get on it. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, with the sound and that. It's reasonable picture quality. I mean, I was doing stuff with bird watching, some good moon videos. You can see Saturn and Mars and all that. So this is a cracking little camera really, and again, not very big, easy to carry around. I can't say that for the next camera, but this is a camera I've wanted. Well, I actually wanted the predecessor to this camera. I never actually bought it. It was between that and the SX60, and I got the SX60. But it was the P900 that I wanted. I never bought it, and then the P1000 was announced and I had to have it. This camera is an absolute beast. You've seen reviews on it on YouTube. You know, if you're looking into it, you know all about it. I personally, this is just my opinion, I don't think this is an amazing camera for taking pictures. It's a good camera, but I certainly wouldn't, I suppose bird watching photography, but I bought this as a video camera, which again, people are probably thinking, what? But the zoom on it, I mean, I can get amazing plane spotting footage, I can get amazing moon footage, videos of Saturn and Mars, and very close-up stuff that I just can't get with any other camera. And when I was looking at this, because it is very expensive for a bridge camera, I mean, looking at about £1,000, $1,000. You know, you can get one hell of a telescope for that. But this is so good that, you know, if compared to a telescope, if I just quickly wanted to take an image as a plane flying by or something like that, this is so much simpler. You know, it's 4K, it's raw pictures, a 24 to 3000 millimeter zoom up to 12,000 millimeter digital, and then obviously I can edit, crop, do whatever I want. It's absolutely brilliant for me. I don't think it would suit a lot of people, but for me it's like having a telescope with a built-in 4K camera, and you just can't go wrong with this if as long as you make sure it's going to suit your needs. Absolutely love that camera. It's not something I'm going to go walking with as such. It's mostly a camera that I use at home or for specialist stuff, but if you're into that type of specialist stuff, you will absolutely love that camera. So that's basically it from the equipment that I use. Like I say, none of it's mega cheap, but it's certainly not top grade, mega expensive. Everyone can achieve, hopefully, getting that type of stuff. So anyway, it's my first proper video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And please subscribe, check out all the other videos. I don't want to tie myself down to doing too much of one particular thing. I love spotting planes, I love the bird watching, I love making videos of the moon and planets, anything which really involves any type of camera. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do is super zoom, but I love the macro photography, I love just general photography. So as I build the channel up, we'll just see where it goes. So hope you enjoyed this video and keep on watching. Cheers YouTube.